This review is made possible by Gerald Kia in Naperville. Gerald's outstanding staff is ready to find the perfect car for you. Whether it be new or used, your next car is waiting for you at Gerald Kia. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2020 Kia Telluride S. Up front is a 3.8-liter V6, and down below is an 8-speed automatic transmission. This video is sponsored by CarMarshal.com. If you'd like to support the channel, click the link down in the description below. CarMarshal.com advertises for over 100,000 vehicles across the US. Let's get back to that 3.8-liter V6. Now, surprisingly, this is not actually a shared engine with the Sedona or Stinger like I previously reviewed. This is actually its own engine, the 3.8-liter. Doesn't mess around. And what I like about it is that it is, of course, like I mentioned, a V6. It has a decent amount of torque. Nothing that'll blow your socks off, but for a vehicle like this is more of a rugged off-roader than a take-to-the-mall SUV. You want torque. If you're going to be stuck in something, if you're going to go over harsh terrain, you're going to want that torque. All right, so we're on the test track. Put it over into sport mode, 3.8-liter V6. As it wants to roast. Holy crap. That thing pulls like a freight train. Man, I wish that this was the all-wheel drive version because it does not like getting traction with those front tires. That's quick. That's torquey. That's beefy. It's meaty. Like I said, paired to it is an 8-speed automatic transmission, not a CVT. I really like the transmission. I think it shifts flawlessly. It's as good as any modern economy automatic. And what I mean by that is, back in the 70s, if you got an economy car with an automatic, it was horrible. It was just the worst thing ever to exist. But this, it's not aggressive. It doesn't shift lightning fast, but it shifts smooth. It's quiet. And honestly, you won't ever think about it. Last but not least, this is the front-wheel drive version of the Telluride. Now, they do make an all-wheel drive version. This is the front-wheel drive version. And the reason for that is because Kia of Naperville cannot keep these on the lot. They told me if I wanted to review a Telluride, I had to do it today because they have this car here today, and they were not sure when they might get another one. So we're gonna have to make do with front wheel drive for today, but that's okay. So let's talk about the interior. We have a lot to talk about. The ruggedness really continues on in here. To the left, I do have a tachometer with my coolant temperature, and on the right, my speedometer and fuel. That's very Kia. They have this set up in almost every car that they have. And speaking of which, they have the same center screen as the Kia Soul, Kia Forte, Stinger, Sedona, stuff like that. They have this center infotainment screen giving me all of my different information that I would want to know. Of course, my settings can also be found in here. On the steering wheel, I have cruise control and my settings for that center screen I just mentioned on the right side. And on the left, I do have my voice commands, volume, and phone options. I really like the steering wheel. It is sort of more rugged than you'll find in a Soul, in a Forte, in a Stinger, stuff like that. It looks more purpose-built, I guess. I don't know. It's just, I like the stitching on the center of the wheel. I think the wheel's a nice size. I just overall think it really works well. To the left, I do have a couple interesting buttons. I do have my dimmer switches, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, and traction control on and off. Then on the door, I have my window switches, power mirrors, and my lock and unlock buttons. Then we come into the center, pretty standard Kia media center here. We have, of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM radio, satellite radio, navigation, Bluetooth, roadside assistance, anything you want out of a modern radio you can find here in Telluride. Nothing really too crazy. I do like that on the sides I have my radio, media, seek, track, home, phone, favorites, and setup buttons respectively, as well as a tune and a volume knob. Then I have 3 vents and a hazard switch. I like this area a lot. I think this looks really rugged. It's going to be a word that I'm going to use a lot in this review. And then I have my heating and air conditioning controls very spaced out. They sort of take up probably about a foot and a half of space. But I have all of my regular controls here, nothing too crazy. The center console is very wide as we start to talk about it. I do have USB in, a specific USB charger, and then your regular 12-volt charger sort of down in this little dish area. You get a lot of storage space down here. And then up on these high sides, we do have heated seats. I have 3 different modes of heated seats for hot, 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 and hot, hot, hot. Then sort of recessed down actually into the center console is the shifter. This is the same shifter you'll find in the Forte and in the Kia Soul. Then we have the drive mode selector. So we have Smart, Eco, Comfort, and Sport. Of course, Smart being it'll kind of analyze the way that you drive, and if you're real aggressive, it'll leave you in Sport mode. If you just cruise, barely touching the throttle like I am right now, it'll sort of learn that and keep the car in a more eco sort of state. Down below the selector for the mode button though is my automatic start stop off button, auto hold, power parking brake, and my parking sensors. This I really like. This really reinforces the ruggedness because it's not the standard buttons you'll find in Kia. These look like they were almost stenciled on. Like back in elementary school, I was in the environmental club in like 3rd and 4th grade, and we would go around and we would spray paint those signs that you see on storm drains. It's like, don't pour crap down here, whatever the sign says. It looks like one of those stencils. It looked like someone actually stenciled it on. Very utilitarian. They're not worried about style. It's something you would stencil onto the side of a shipping container and send it across the world. I really like that. And then of course we have the seats. The seats are decent. They're a little hard. Getting in, that was the first thing that I noticed, was that it is sort of a hard seat, and that's honestly backed up by the harsh ride. It does feel like a truck. This is not something that is very plush and elegant in terms of ride. It's here for a purpose. It's here to get something done. And so the seat reinforces that. I wish that they were a little bit more comfortable, but that being said, they are perforated leather, and I quite like that. I think that they look nice. And they are heated and power, so we're doing pretty good. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2020 Kia Telluride S. Seats aren't bad. I kind of like them. I do have another seat here, which is folded down, and then a full back row. The thing I really like about the back seats is that in the front seats on the side here, there's actually USB chargers on both sides. And then I don't know if you can see it way back here where my finger is a USB charger for the back seat as well. I think that's really nice. They integrate the chargers actually into the rest of the car. So there's no extra outlet. There is a 12-volt outlet, but there's no, dangling stuff anywhere. It's just right in the seat, and I think that that's really, really good planning. Other than that, I do have my own air conditioning and heating controls up top. I do have vents up top, which the third row also gets vents, which a lot of cars don't give the third row the pleasure of vents. But besides that, pretty comfortable back seats, not bad at all. I have to say it gets a thumbs up. Last but not least about the interiors, I do have a pretty sizable sunroof. I do have to say that I like that a lot. And then we gotta talk about the looks. Well, I think the Telluride might be one of the best looking SUVs out there. I think it's aggressive. I think it's fresh. I think it's new. I love the front driving lights. I just think this thing overall looks amazing. I think it almost looks a little bit like a Range Rover, and that's something to definitely be said because it is a Kia. I think part of that is the fact that the first time I ever laid eyes on a Telluride was at SEMA of 2018. And what they were doing, Kia, was they were setting up an outside arena, and they were taking people on rides in a Telluride, and they were jumping them. They were literally jumping these things, which is insane. I mean, what kind of marketing? You don't see Ford jumping their new Fiesta or Dodge jumping the new Grand Caravan, but this, they actually had dirt mounds and they were jumping them, which is absolutely insane. And I think that really speaks to what Kia was trying to accomplish with this SUV, which is the rugged, can-do anything sort of mean-looking SUV. And honestly, I think that they achieved it pretty well. There are a couple things that I really don't like about the Telluride. I think the ride's a little bit hard for around town use. I think the seats are a little hard. That being said, what I really like is the ruggedness, the look of it. the torque. I think overall, I think this really is sort of the next good adventure SUV. I'm really excited to see what people are going to do with these because, you know, Land Rovers have been around for a while and Jeeps have been around for a while. And so you see people do these crazy builds with the rooftop carriers and lift kits and all that stuff. I can't wait to see someone do that with one of these. I think this will fit in perfectly. This might be the next good adventure platform for people who seek that in their lives. But my biggest takeaway from this vehicle and from the Stinger that I recently drove the twin turbo GTS Stinger. Kia is starting to branch out. They're really starting to go into other markets. If you guys don't know, Kia is a relatively new brand here in the US. I think they started importing them early 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s, but they really didn't grab traction probably till about the 2000s-ish, before people actually started taking Kia seriously. And honestly, I don't think really people started taking Kia seriously until probably about 2010. At least it wasn't on my radar until probably about 2013, 2014. And so now that Kia has this established base, they make great cars, I love the fact that they're starting to branch out. I would love an absolutely hardcore version of the Telluride. I wish that they had a factory parts store like Mopar does with the Gladiator, or like Jeep does with literally everything. I wish that you could get a factory lift. I wish that you could get a factory bumper with a big old winch on it. I wish you could get a bunch of aftermarket parts to make this thing a crazy, crazy off-road trail rig. I wish that they sold parts to take this thing to trekking through the woods for a weekend. But since this is a new vehicle, you know, they've only been making these for a year or two, this has high, high hopes. And so I feel the same way I feel about the Stinger with this, is that if this is the start, this is the entry level, if this is the base, if this is version 000.1, it's only up from here. And as long as they sell these, which Kia of Naperville has been chucking these out the door, they cannot keep these things on the lot. That's how fast that they're selling. I think this is a great start, and I'm interested to see what a Kia Telluride of 2025, of 2030, of 2035 is going to be, because I think those have great potential into being just great off-road vehicles, because this is definitely the start of one. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Gerald Kia of Naperville for finally getting me into a Telluride. I know that this was their only one on the lot. They move these things like water. It's absolutely insane, but go check them out. You can custom order one. All of the ones on the lot, besides this one, this is their demonstrator, all of the ones on the lot are custom orders and are waiting for pickup. So my suggestion would be to go over to Gerald Kia of Naperville and special order your Telluride today, because they are selling out. But huge thank you to them. Their website is up on the screen. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. Aside from my soul, aside